After 60, you lose up to 2% of your muscle every single year. By the time you reach 80, that is nearly a third of your strength gone. Walking upstairs gets harder. Opening jars becomes a struggle. Carrying groceries from the car feels like a workout. And here is what almost no one will tell you. For 30 years, doctors warned you away from one of the cheapest, most powerful muscle-building foods sitting right there in your grocery store. They told you it would clog your arteries. They told you to throw away the most nutritious part. They were wrong. That food is eggs, at about 20 cents each, and by the end of this video, you will know exactly how to use them to rebuild the strength you thought was gone forever. Think about this for a moment. For 3 decades, you were told that the egg, this perfectly designed package of nutrition that humans have eaten for thousands of years, was somehow dangerous. You were told to limit yourself to 2 or 3 per week. You were told to dump the yolk and eat only the watery whites. And many of you listened. You followed the advice. You did what the experts told you to do. And in the meantime, you grew weaker. Your muscles thinned. Your energy dropped. And someone, somewhere, was selling you expensive protein powders and supplements to replace the very food you had been told to avoid. But the science has caught up. Major reviews published in the British Medical Journal and updated guidance from the American Heart Association have quietly walked back decades of egg fear-mongering. For most healthy adults, eating eggs daily does not raise heart disease risk in any meaningful way. In fact, throwing away the yolk may have been one of the most damaging dietary mistakes of the last 30 years for seniors trying to hold on to muscle and independence. Now let me explain what is actually happening to your body after 60, because once you understand it, everything else makes sense. There is a medical term for the muscle loss that comes with aging. It is called sarcopenia. And it is not just about looking thinner or feeling weaker. It is a slow, silent process that begins in your 40s and accelerates rapidly after 60. By the time most people hit 70, they have already lost 15 to 20% of the muscle they had at 40. And here is the part that almost no one explains to you. As you age, your body becomes less responsive to the protein you eat. Researchers call this anabolic resistance. In simple terms, the protein you ate at 30 to maintain your muscle now barely registers with your body at 70. Your aging muscles need more protein of higher quality, and they need it spread throughout the day, not just at dinner. This is why so many seniors feel like they're doing everything right and still getting weaker. They are eating chicken at night, maybe a sandwich at lunch, toast and coffee for breakfast. And their muscles are starving for the building blocks they need. The damage shows up in ways that feel like just normal aging. The grip strength that fails when you try to open a jar. The wobble when you stand up too quickly. The hesitation at the top of the stairs. The fear of falling that did not used to be there. None of that is inevitable. It is, in most cases, undernourishment of muscle, and it can be reversed. So why eggs over everything else? Why not steak? Why not chicken? Why not a fancy whey protein powder? The answer is something called bioavailability. It is a measurement of how much of a protein your body can actually use after you eat it. And on the gold standard scale used by the World Health Organization, the egg scores a perfect score of 1.0. That is the highest possible score for any whole food on the planet. Nothing else comes close. Not beef, not chicken, not fish, not soy. Eggs sit at the very top. What that means in practical terms is that nearly every gram of protein in an egg gets absorbed and put to work, building muscle tissue, repairing the wear and tear from yesterday, and producing the enzymes your body needs to function. There is almost no waste. And for someone over 60, with reduced stomach acid and slower digestion, that bioavailability becomes critical. You simply cannot afford to eat protein your body cannot use. Now let us talk about why the egg is so well designed for your aging muscles. An egg contains about 6 to 7 grams of complete protein, meaning all 9 essential amino acids your body cannot make on its own. But more importantly, it contains a high concentration of one specific amino acid called leucine. Think of leucine like an ignition switch for muscle building. Without enough leucine in a single meal, your muscles do not even register that you have eaten protein. They just sit there. And here is where it gets interesting. Researchers have found that after 65, your body needs roughly 3 grams of leucine in one sitting to flip that ignition switch. Younger people only need about 2 grams. Older bodies need more. 2 whole eggs deliver right around that threshold. 3 eggs get you comfortably over it. This is why eggs are arguably the most age-appropriate protein source in existence. They were almost designed for the aging body. Add to that the fact that eggs are one of the few natural food sources of vitamin D, which directly affects muscle strength and balance. Studies suggest that 70 to 80% of seniors are vitamin D insufficient. And without enough vitamin D, even if you eat plenty of protein, your muscle fibers do not respond properly when you try to move them. The vitamin D in eggs is paired with the natural fats in the yolk, which means your body actually absorbs it, unlike many supplements that pass right through. But here is where the real betrayal hits. For 30 years, you were told to throw away the yolk, to make egg white omelets, to choke down the rubbery, flavorless whites, and dump the golden center down the drain. And the part you were throwing away contained more than half of everything that made the egg powerful. The yolk holds the vitamin D. The yolk holds the choline, the nutrient that supports brain function and the mind-muscle connection that helps prevent falls. The yolk holds nearly half of the protein, and the yolk holds the healthy fats that allow your body to actually absorb the fat-soluble vitamins, the A, the D, the E, and the K, that your aging body desperately needs. A landmark study from the University of Illinois proved this beyond any doubt. Researchers gave one group of older adults whole eggs after light exercise, and gave another group only the egg whites with the same total protein content. The result was striking. The whole egg group experienced 40% greater muscle protein synthesis than the egg white group. 40% more muscle building activity from eating the part you were told to throw away. That is not a small number. That is the difference between maintaining strength and losing it. Let me tell you about a woman named Margaret. She is 72 years old, lives in Phoenix, retired school teacher. Margaret came to my attention through her daughter, who was worried because her mother had been getting weaker for years. Margaret had done everything right by the old rules. She walked. She watched her cholesterol. She had been making egg white omelets every single morning for nearly 20 years. 20 years of throwing away the yolk. When her daughter showed her the new research, Margaret was skeptical. She had been told for so long that the yolk was poison that the idea of eating it felt almost wrong. But she agreed to try. Just 2 whole eggs every morning, cooked simply, with the yolk. After 8 weeks, the change was undeniable. She told her daughter she could open her own jars again. She could climb the stairs in her house without holding the railing. She had energy in the afternoon that she had not had in years. Her doctor ran her blood work and her cholesterol numbers had not moved, not by a meaningful amount. 20 years of avoiding yolks, 20 years of getting weaker, all for a fear that was not backed by the actual science. So if you have been making egg white omelets, throwing away yolks, limiting yourself to 1 or 2 eggs per week because of an outdated fear, give yourself permission to stop. The yolk is not the enemy, it is the engine. Now let me address the cholesterol question head-on, because I know it is sitting in the back of your mind. For most healthy adults, modern research strongly suggests that dietary cholesterol from eggs has very little effect on your blood cholesterol levels. The body produces its own cholesterol, and when you eat more from food, it typically produces less. The system self-regulates for the vast majority of people. Several large meta-analyses published over the last decade have failed to find any meaningful link between moderate egg consumption and increased heart disease risk in healthy adults. The American Heart Association quietly updated its guidance years ago, removing the strict daily cholesterol limit that had been the cornerstone of the old advice. But here is the important caveat, and I want you to hear it clearly. If you have been diagnosed with familial hypercholesterolemia, if you have advanced cardiovascular disease, or if your doctor has specifically told you to limit dietary cholesterol because of your individual situation, please follow that guidance. There is a small percentage of the population whose bodies respond more strongly to dietary cholesterol, and you should know if you are in that group. But for most healthy seniors, 1 to 3 whole eggs per day is well within the range that research supports. The risk of muscle loss from underconsuming protein is, for most people, over 60, a far more pressing concern than the risk of cholesterol from eggs. So how do you actually use eggs to rebuild strength after 60? Let me walk you through this carefully. First, the quantity. Aim for 2 to 3 whole eggs in the morning, ideally within the first hour or 2 after waking up. This is when your cortisol levels are naturally highest, and a strong protein meal at that window helps shut down the muscle-wasting effects of that cortisol. If you typically eat toast and coffee for breakfast, just adding 2 eggs to that meal could be the single most impactful change you make for your muscles this year. Second, the cooking method matters more than people realize. The gentler the cooking, the better the nutrients hold up. Soft-boiled, poached, and gently scrambled eggs preserve the most of the delicate fats and choline in the yolk. Hard frying at very high heat, or cooking until the yolk is completely solid and crumbly, oxidizes some of those healthy fats and reduces their benefit. So aim for runny or just set yolks when possible. If hard-boiled is your preference for convenience, that is fine. Keep some in the refrigerator for easy snacks. Third, what to pair them with. This is where the synergy comes in, and it can dramatically multiply the benefits. Adding leafy greens to your egg meal, even just a small handful of spinach scrambled in, brings in magnesium and folate that work alongside the protein to support muscle activation. A few cherry tomatoes on the side provide lycopene, which research suggests helps preserve the fast-twitch muscle fibers that decline most rapidly after 60. A slice of avocado adds healthy fats and potassium, both of which support muscle contraction and reduce cramping. A squeeze of lemon or a few slices of bell pepper bring vitamin C, which is essential for the collagen that holds your muscle fibers in place. None of these additions are expensive. None of them require complicated cooking. But together, they turn a simple plate of eggs into a meal that is doing 5 things at once for your aging body. Fourth, frequency. The research suggests that protein distribution throughout the day matters more than total protein at one big dinner. So even though eggs at breakfast are ideal, having an egg as a midday snack, sliced over a salad at lunch, or boiled and packed into a bag for the afternoon, is a powerful way to keep amino acids flowing to your muscles all day long. Older bodies do better with steady supply than with one big load. Think of it like watering a plant. You would not dump a gallon on it once a week and expect it to thrive. You water it a little every day. Treat your muscles the same way. Let me give you a few specific meal ideas you can start tomorrow morning, because I find that people change their habits more easily when they have a clear picture in their head. Picture this: a small skillet with a teaspoon of olive oil, 2 whole eggs cracked in, gently scrambled with a handful of spinach and a few halved cherry tomatoes, salt, pepper, a squeeze of lemon. Total cost, around 60 cents. Total preparation time, maybe 4 minutes. Total protein, around 14 grams of the highest quality protein on Earth, plus iron, magnesium, folate, vitamin D, choline, and lycopene. That is one breakfast. Another option: 2 eggs poached softly, placed on top of a slice of whole grain toast, spread with mashed avocado. A pinch of salt, a crack of pepper, maybe a sprinkle of red pepper flakes. Cost, around 80 cents. Time, 6 minutes. Protein, 14 grams, plus healthy fats, fiber, and potassium. A third option for those who do not enjoy savory breakfasts: 3 eggs whisked into a small bowl with a splash of milk, cooked gently in a non-stick pan, served alongside a small handful of berries. Cost, about 90 cents. Time, 5 minutes. Protein, around 21 grams, hitting your leucine threshold comfortably, plus antioxidants from the berries that support recovery. None of this is complicated. None of this requires a specialty store. None of this needs a supplement. You are working with ingredients that have been in human kitchens for thousands of years, and the cost is so low it almost feels like cheating. Let me share one more story before we close. Walter is 78 years old, lives in Sacramento, retired electrician. About a year ago, Walter had stopped going to his grandson's baseball games. The metal bleachers were too steep. His knees could not handle the climb. He had told his family he was just tired, but the truth was, he did not trust his legs anymore. He had had 2 near falls in his own house in the past year. His daughter-in-law, who works in healthcare, suggested he start having 3 eggs every morning. Just that one change. No exercise program, no supplements, no expensive equipment. Just 3 eggs, cooked simply, every single day. 6 months later, Walter climbed those bleachers without holding the railing. He told his daughter-in-law he did not even think about it until he was already at the top. The grip strength he had lost was returning. The afternoon fatigue had faded. He had put on a few pounds of what his doctor called lean weight, meaning muscle, not fat. 6 months, 3 eggs a day, about $50 worth of eggs total for the entire experiment. That is what is possible when you give an aging body the right fuel. Let me put the economics in perspective one more time, because I think people lose sight of just how absurd the value here is. 20 cents per egg, a dozen eggs for $2.50 to $3 depending on your area. That dozen contains roughly 72 grams of the highest quality, most bioavailable, most age-appropriate protein on the planet, with vitamin D, choline, leucine, and healthy fats included at no extra charge. The same amount of usable protein from a premium protein powder might cost you $15 to $20. From specialty supplements marketed to seniors, easily $40 to $60. From a fancy cut of grass-fed beef, $20 to $30. Eggs deliver the same nutritional outcome, often better, for under $3. There has never been a more affordable, more accessible, more reliable food for building and maintaining muscle in the aging body than the humble egg. and it has been sitting in your refrigerator the whole time. So here is your action step. Just one thing. Tomorrow morning, before you do anything else, cook 2 whole eggs. With the yolk, eat them within an hour of waking. Pair them with anything from your kitchen, a piece of toast, a handful of spinach, a sliced tomato, whatever you have. Do that every single morning for the next 2 weeks. Do not change anything else. Do not start an exercise program. Do not buy any supplements. Just 2 whole eggs every morning for 14 days. And pay attention to how you feel when you carry the groceries in. How your hands feel when you open a jar. How your legs feel at the top of the stairs. The change will not be dramatic in 2 weeks, but it will be real. And it will build from there. Now I want to hear from you. Have you been throwing away the yolks for years, like Margaret was? Are you going to give whole eggs a real try? Drop your age and your honest answer in the comments below. Every single one gets read. And if this helped you see eggs in a new way, please share it with someone over 60 who needs to hear it. They have probably been told the same wrong story you were. It is time more people knew the truth.